Hi there, this is Shruti, and today I want to sit down and chat with you about my latest digital product launch, which was for my mini course, Insta Sales Academy, which I launched earlier this month. And I wanted to break down the things that worked for me, the things that didn't, and exactly how to go about, creating a digital product launch. Now, I know that some of you all are going to be like, but that's not really a digital product because it's a mini course. Well, the truth is, a course is also a digital product, and oftentimes selling a course is way harder because of the higher price point that is attached to it. When we think about digital products, we usually think about products in the range of $20 to $30, and it's a lot easier to get someone to part with $20 than for them to part with hundreds of dollars of their money. Even though the strategies that I used here are specific to my mini course launch, I'm pretty sure you can use these strategies within your digital product business as well, irrespective of what it is that you're selling, because the core principles of marketing and sales apply to this strategy. So before I dive into, what we did before, during, and after the launch, I wanted to share with you the numbers here on the screen so that all of the skeptical people can leave me in peace. And then let's dive into exactly how this launch worked. So step number one before I launch anything is to really do research on what it is that my audience is struggling with, what it is something that I could help them with in the easiest way possible. So my idea for this really came from people asking me, how can I make more sales of my digital products using social media, but without having to be constantly creating content, without having to post 20 times a day. Like, how can we do this in a way that grows our business, but also doesn't drive us nuts? So this was kind of the foundation where I started to think, okay, this is maybe a product that my audience actually wants. And this is the step that I highly recommend anyone to do, because before you actually create and launch a product, you want to ascertain that there is demand for this product. Now, if you are selling on a place like Amazon or Etsy, you can use tools like eRank or Etsy Hunt to really, dig deep and see what are people buying. But if you have your own audience, the best way to really get to know what they want is to ask them. And I'm often surprised how many people don't do this. Even if you have an audience of 100 followers, you could, create a poll on your Instagram story. You could send out an email to your marketing list and just ask people what are they struggling with. I often do this to really understand what it is that my people actually want. How can I really help them? And I've also been listening to our students inside of Digital Product Academy, which now has over 3,000 students. So obviously that's access to a lot of data and where people are stuck. So even though inside of Digital Product Academy, I cover strategies around Pinterest and TikTok and, a little bit about how to create content, I don't go as deep into sales and psychology and marketing hacks because it's a completely different universe. And also it differs from platform to platform. So one of the things that we've been testing in the business is really trying to figure out how we can use Instagram to basically filter in leads and customers for our business, whether it is to sell small digital products like templates or ebooks or guides, or it is to sell larger digital products like online courses, workshops, etc. So based on the things that I have been doing, I really thought this could be something that would be super helpful. And so what I did at the next step was, once I, figured out that yes, there is demand for this product, step number two was to create a waitlist. And now there is no right or wrong way to go about it. You can create a waitlist 6 months before you launch a product. I tend to do it a little bit closer to, the launch date, because I think if you have a waitlist for like 6 months, people are going to forget about what it is that they actually signed up for, and they'll eventually unsubscribe and not be interested in what it is that you have to sell. So what I did was that I created a waitlist, I believe somewhere around the end of July. So it was more like about a 60-day period where I created this waitlist, and I spoke about this extensively on my social media because that is really where people are following me on a day-to-day basis. And I also introduced this to my email list about 1 month before launch because I did not want to start priming them for 2 months about this launch, but I wanted to kind of get clarity on who was interested and who was not interested. So the tool that I use for email marketing is ConvertKit, and the really great thing about ConvertKit or any other marketing tool that you could use for your email list is that they allow you to tag and sort of segment people within your email list to see whether or not people would be interested in this course. Now, when we talk about launching a digital product, one of the things to keep in mind is that at any given point of time, about 1 to 3% of the people in your audience are going to buy what you have to offer. It doesn't matter what you're selling, whether you're selling a $10 template or a $1,000 coaching program. So once I created this waitlist, the next step really was to share it everywhere possible. And what I did here was that I basically shared it on my Instagram every single week, and I shared it on my email list a month before launch. While doing this, I got about 1,400 or 1,500 people interested interested in the product. Now, a lot of people will think that out of such a large email list, that's a small number, but that's actually fine with me because this is a way for you to segment who is really raising their hand and saying yes to this product, who is really going to be interested in this product. So you can have deeper conversations with them. You can tell them more behind the scenes of how you're creating this digital product. You can share more emails with them. You can basically build a completely different rapport rather than just spamming your entire email list or your entire audience with, these messages over and over again. So what I did was that besides my regular social media content, which, is about digital products, online business, I also started to kind of sprinkle in content about Instagram and about our sales strategy, what we've been doing, how we've been growing our accounts. And one of the case studies that I use inside of this mini course, as well as, to share what I really know about this, our website, digitalplrhub.com, which we are just growing through social media. So we're not using any paid ads. We are not doing any, crazy marketing hacks out there. We've literally just testing this as a faceless brand on social media. So I kind of shared, snippets of this whole strategy and what this looked like, and then led people who were interested to my waitlist. Now, I call this whole process basically priming your audience and building a buzz around your launch. Because if you just show up one day and you're like, buy my product, especially if you're building your own brand, chances are people are not going to be interested. You do need to find a way of creating this buzz and creating, this need around your product so people can basically self-identify whether or not they're interested in it. So once I had these many people on my waitlist, I knew that there was a demand for this product. I knew that this is something that could actually help people. So then it was really about understanding, okay, how can I create this product? And to be honest, I've created this course, I think, in just about a couple of weeks when it comes to, the production side of it, which is creating the lessons and recording them and all of that. But I've been thinking about this and I have been working on these strategies for years. So it's not something that, you could just sit out and create in a second if you didn't have the experience for it. So everything I know about marketing, psychology, making offers, all of these things get, combined inside of the course to share how to lead people from just viewing your content to actually becoming your customers. So I was sharing all of these behind the scenes snippet and priming my audience. And step 3 was to ask them, okay, what is it that you actually want from me in this course, right? Like, what are the things that you would love to see in this course? So like I said, product creation, specifically when you're building something with your audience, needs to be a two-way street. It cannot be just, I push out and dump products on you and you just somehow buy them, because that just doesn't work anymore. The industry is saturated with crappy products. So if you want to sell something of value and stand out, you're going to need to have conversations with your audience. So I polled people on, my stories and just had one-on-one conversations as well to figure out where they were stuck and what are the questions that were coming up. One of the biggest questions that was coming up was, okay, how do I grow a brand in which I don't have to be the face behind it? So I don't have to be the personal brand behind it. And I totally get that, because that's something that held me back for a very long time from wanting to have an online business, because I didn't think that I had what it took to show up on camera or even share my voice. And, I obviously had this whole fear of judgment and all of these things going on. And I totally respect that there are people who don't want to necessarily be on camera or share their voice. So what I did is that I took this feedback really seriously and I incorporated this into the course, and I figured out strategies that you could use even if you didn't want to show your face. So far, let's recap the steps. I first of all figured out if there was a demand for this product based on what my audience was telling me, what questions I was getting and asking them what they needed help with. Step 2 was to create a waitlist to see who will actually raise their hand and say, hey, I want to hear about this product. Step 3 was to continue to co-build the product and understand what are the things that needed to be in there so that, people could actually benefit from this product. Step 4 is going to be the exciting part, which is creating your product. Now, since this is not a template-based product and it's not an ebook, I didn't create this whole product on Canva, although we did use some elements of, the bonuses that we had, and we did add stock videos and all of that. The main thing that I needed to do was to actually create the framework that I use. So I had to sit down and think about the 4-step framework that I use when I am building an account from scratch on Instagram, specifically for digital products, break that down into steps, into modules, into lessons, into case studies, into examples. And so at this stage, this is what I was doing. So I did this, I think, for, probably the whole of July and August, where I was just basically breaking down. And whenever I was ready with a framework, I would then film that, because I'm someone who really likes to work in the flow. Like, I cannot sit and forcefully batch content if I'm not feeling good about it. So I really need to do things step by step in my own pace, and that's how I work. So there are days when I would just lock myself for 12 hours and finish up a project, but there are also days when I just don't want to do anything about it. So I kind of took it in a very flexible way. I was traveling a lot as well, so I couldn't really, film the content for this mini course while I was traveling. So I kind of squeezed all of the filming production in, within this whole schedule of mine. At the end of August, I knew that I was close to, finishing this course. So what I did was that I started to really prime my audience a little bit more with pre-launch content. So this is the next step. Okay, so I'm losing track of the steps here, but I think we're at step 5 now. And at step 5, the idea is to do a pre-launch. So a pre-launch is essentially the process of, how you are basically nurturing your audience and telling them what it is that you're going to launch and kind of priming them towards, making this offer. And again, a lot of the things that I have learned are from Jeff Walker. And to be honest, when I invested in this $2,000 program back then, I wasn't sure that I would get my worth. And I kind of felt like maybe I didn't. But now that I've been doing marketing for a lot of years, I really now see the strength in some of the methods that were taught, and I've kind of tweaked and reframed them for myself. So I also teach this whole launch strategy inside of Digital Product Academy. In case you're interested in learning it, even more in depth, step by step with tutorials, you can check out Digital Product Academy. I'm going to link it below. So my pre-launch content is because I teach reels and, stories inside of this course. It was obviously reels. So I was creating specific reels around how we were growing on Instagram, questions that come up around it. And I was also sharing this within my email list as well, where I was basically nurturing the waitlist that was already created so that they would know what to expect or basically see my authority in this, in this launch. Now, once we have done all of this, as you can see, I still haven't launched this product. This is all happening before the launch. And I think this is what is so important and that people don't understand when they are launching a digital product, specifically on social media, that it's not just about you creating a product and putting it up for sale. It is a whole process. And the more time that you take in refining each step of this process, the better your launch is going to be, because you have spent, consistent thought and action in creating that particular product. So now that we come to the next step, which is launching the product. So I launched this product first to my waitlist because that was the promise that I had shared, which was that I would give them early access to this product. So I would give them access about a week before I would launch it to my regular audience. And of course, I wanted to give them special offers and bonuses to kind of make sure that I was giving them the best deal possible, because that is again a way of me building trust with my audience. I want to make sure that when I promise something, I deliver on that. So that was the whole idea behind, nurturing this waitlist and making sure that the best offer possible was up for them. So when it comes to what type of launch you can have, there are different types of launches. One is an open type of launch, which is basically when you launch your product and then it is available for sale forever. And the other is a closed launch, and that is when you have a definitive start and close date to the launch. One of the things that I was offering with this launch was that I had a pop-up Facebook group where I would offer support for 30 days, which I knew is a super duper valuable, offer / bonus. And that's why I wanted to make sure that this was a closed launch, because, if I have a rolling basis, then basically I can't really fulfill my obligation to the first batch of students who got in. And I wanted to make sure that because this was the first launch, I wanted to make sure that all of the best results were happening for these students. And I was there 100%, not getting distracted by new students rolling in, every single week. So what we did was that I had a definite period, which was for the waitlist only. So it was about 4 days, I believe. I think we started on a Saturday and then it went on to Tuesday, where I sent them 4 to 5 emails about this product. I answered their objections. I sent an FAQ email. I sent an email with social proof, which essentially means reviews and testimonials. And I also shared, at the end, a little bit of scarcity, which is that I told them, I just have 12 hours left, or this is the last 60 minutes left. And so this whole build up, I think it got us our initial 200 students, which was awesome, because it was just a matter of, let's say, about 4 days, and we made over 20K in just this period, right? So this was really cool for me to kind of validate, yes, this is the right product that I've been creating. There is demand for it, and this is something that I can sell in the long run. Now, once this phase of launch was over, I waited for 1 or 2 days, and then I launched to the rest of my email list, which is my general audience and, my general social media, where I told them, okay, the VIP launch is over, and, people knew from before that they could join the VIP launch if they wanted, if they raised their hand and joined the waitlist. And now it was time to launch to the general audience, which was about 5 days, I believe. So after this, I had a 1 or 2 day break just to, realign myself. The great thing about going through this process is that I already knew that this is a product that was adding immense value. So even after the first launch, I didn't have a lot of stress about about the regular launch because I knew that even if not a lot of people joined, that's okay because I am going to relaunch this product, next year, and they could always come back and decide whether or not this is for them. Just to share a couple of numbers from the first launch, because we do tend to forget that there is a lot of data involved. We did about a 5% conversion on the first launch, which is basically, how many people bought the product divided by how many people saw the offer. So let's say if 100 people were on my sales page, then about 5 bought this offer, which I believe is a pretty amazing conversion rate because generally courses tend to do around 1 to 2%. So I think that it could have been the price point that I was sharing, during this launch. I think that could have been one factor, but I also think that the second factor that did, really, really well was how I formulated this offer and the fact that I co-created this with my audience so they could actually see what I was doing and they knew exactly what they would get. So there was a very high level of trust and, basically this feeling of having co-created this product that was built in, which I think helped in a higher conversion rate. Now, moving on to the next launch, the conversion rate actually dropped because I was not offering some of the bonuses that I was offering on the VIP list. And this was one of the learnings I had, during this launch, is that really having the right strategic bonuses during your product launch can make a huge, huge difference. And so our conversion rate dropped to around 2%, or I think it was 1.5% for the regular launch, which again is not that bad. Like I said, the general digital product launch tends to be between 1 to 2%. So it was okay for me to, have this sort of lower conversion rate here. But that was also a way for me to learn about the things that didn't go so well on my end. One of the things that I also noticed during this launch period that I did, which I believe helped this launch a lot, and that was that I shared a sneak peek of my product. So I took out one of the lessons from, Insta Sales Academy, which was a very, very basic beginner lesson. I think it was about 10 minutes and it said, hey, you can just check out a sneak peek if you're interested. And I did this during the launch. This really helped people understand what my teaching style is and how I show up, because not everyone has taken a course with me before or watches me on YouTube or anything else. So it was really good for me to have that sneak peek and kind of show them, hey, this is how my style is. And if you like it, I would love to see you inside of Insta Sales Academy. So that's pretty much how I launched my latest digital product. And I hope that throughout this, sit down session, you were able to take away some really important key lessons. If you would like to dive deeper into any of these strategies, you can check out my program, Digital Product Academy, where I walk you through everything step by step. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you in the next one.